Hi, we're back with another one, and today we're going to be talking about car issues that we see in the South African market. So I've pinpointed three things. So the first one is the car price, and the second one is the dealerships, basically which manufacturer do you go with, and the third one is whether you go for a new or used car. So that one I'll put them in the same bracket. So the first one, let's talk about the car price in terms of the car pricing in South Africa. So to understand in terms of the car pricing is that, for example, in South Africa we don't have a dealership, a manufacturer that actually was established in South Africa. So we depend on manufacturers from other countries, whether from China, from Germany, from Italy, from America, and so forth. So what happens is that if that car is from the USA and that car is produced in the USA, when it comes to South Africa, obviously there will be certain import tax, even though we have a dealership in South Africa. So how this works is that we will have the manufacturer located in the USA, but the cars, it's either they're produced locally or they get imported, but we will have a big franchise here in South Africa. So that franchise actually pays tax locally, and that actually reduces the tax or the VAT, whatever that actually gets charged on their cars. So this helps to actually cut down on the cost of the car that actually gets to be paid by us consumers, by us who actually buy the car. So the other thing that manufacturers or try to do is that they will have a local assembly located locally in South Africa. So for example, if you look at the Polo is actually produced locally, but even though the manufacturer is from Germany, VW, so that actually reduces the cost because that car doesn't get produced in Germany, then it gets imported in South Africa because they will be charging you also for the transport, then there's tax, so the car will be too expensive. Okay, then there's the other car. For example, we have Mercedes-Benz C-Class, the C200. It gets produced in East London, so they have a local manufacturer there. If you buy a C-Class in South Africa, it's probably coming from East London, so that helps to reduce the cost of the car. Okay, so still on the car price, in terms of the car price, you have to choose whether you buy new or used. So in that bracket now we have to consider a lot of things. As we know, in our country, used cars are the ones that people actually buying because new cars are so expensive. So there's a problem that we're actually dealing with in terms of the dealerships trying to help people to be able to afford cars because cars are so expensive. But what I'm seeing is that this is not a solution in terms of our market. For example, if you come across online, for example, let's say you just come across a car, let's say a Renault Clio, so they will tell you that an estimate of the installment is 4,000, for example. That's an estimate. They'll say from. So basically they're giving you an installment after they've taken away maybe around 40% of the price. So that 40% they've allocated it into the balloon payment. So we have a problem in terms of dealerships and manufacturers trying to resolve their cars being overpriced or being too expensive by actually allocated 40% of their price as balloon payment. So how I see that's not a solution. So a couple of years back, let's say 3 years back, it was well known that if someone wants to buy a car, you will save a certain amount, let's say 10% of the price of the car, maybe say 50,000, 100,000, whatever amount that you have. So when you go to the dealership, you tell them, okay, I want this car. Maybe this car cost 350,000, and you tell the dealership, I have 50,000 as a down payment. So what the dealership do, they go to whatever bank that, if you are going through the dealership option of them looking for a loan for you, they go to the bank and tell the bank that, okay, we have a client. This client has a down payment of 50,000. This is the car that they want. The car actually costs 150,000, and the dealership will negotiate with the bank, and the bank will come back to you and say, okay, this is how much in terms of the interest rate we're willing to give you because you have a down payment. Then it reduces your interest rate, and it also reduces your installment. Then, which means that if you finance that car for 5 years, after 5 years you don't have anything to worry about. After 5 years, that car is yours. It's yours, finish and clear. After 5 years, you can go and enjoy your money and do whatever. Whether all those trips that you've actually been planning over the years, you can go and enjoy. The car is yours, it's fully paid off. But now in today's market, what's happening is actually the opposite. People are actually buying cars without a deposit, or they buy a car with a deposit. Okay, let's go back to the price. Let's say the car cost 350,000 in today's market. The dealership, what they will do is that they will come to you and say, no, we're going to take out 40% of the price, which means that you are going to be paying per month. If you were supposed to pay 6,000, you're going to pay 4,000 because they've taken a chunk, maybe 150,000 on the side. But if you paid 50,000 deposit, still the dealership have taken away 100,000. When you pay monthly installment, that 100,000 is not part of the price. Okay, it's fine. The bank did help you with reducing the interest rate. Maybe you still got the same interest rate, but the problem is that after that 5 years period, do you know why now most car loans are 6 years as opposed to 5 years? This is because for 5 years you're paying that amount that is left before that 40% is being taken away. At the end, number 6, now you've added an extra year, you have to pay up that balloon payment. Most people, what they do, because sometimes in terms of the balloon payment, you have to pay it all off at once. They will need the 100,000 at once. It's like you are paying deposit for a car that you've used after 5 years, which it doesn't make sense at all. This whole scenario doesn't make sense. What most people end up doing is that they go to the bank and actually you have to renegotiate. Then you take another loan of 100,000 so that you can pay off the balloon payment. Now, instead of paying for the 6 years, what's going to happen is that, okay, you're going to pay, because you've taken another loan, that loan can take maybe another 3 years or 2 years. Now you end up paying for the car whether for 7 years or 8 years. So this is why I see that balloon payment, this is a problem in our market. It's not solving anything. This is not the solution. I still believe that as individuals, we need to know that if we're buying a car, don't take a balloon payment. If you need balloon payment on your car, it means that you can't afford that car. Maybe you should consider something that's a bit more affordable. But I don't blame people. It's just that post-COVID, car prices have soared out of control. Okay, then we have to talk about the dealerships and also the cars, whether are new or used. Okay, let's talk about the dealerships. If you go to the dealership and you want to buy a new car, you was content. You knew that if I'm going to a dealership, I'm going to be getting a car that is new, no problems. I don't have anything to worry about because it has a maintenance plan. Back in the days, I wasn't really following up in terms of cars. I'm not sure if they came with a warranty, but in today's age, we have a maintenance plan on the car and a warranty. A warranty is if something mechanical, something big goes wrong with the car, inside the dealership will fix the car for you. Okay, so what the dealerships are actually going through is that there's a lot of new cars that are not getting bought by people. So in order to help the dealerships, is that what happens is that they can notice that people are buying most used cars. So they will have a section of used cars and a section of new cars, but still you expect that if you're buying a used car from a dealership, it should be in better condition. You shouldn't get scammed because you're buying from a dealership and not straight from a person from Facebook Market, for example. So what dealerships are doing, because cars have that section of warranty, dealerships actually selling crap ass cars which we call lemons. So what happens is that that car will go be driven by someone, it will have a lot of problems. Sometimes the dealership will fix that car and still sell it as new to someone who's unsuspecting. Then they'll say, no, this car is new. In their minds is that they have that warranty section so that you still pay more, and if something breaks down, they'll fix it under the warranty section. So basically you're buying a used car marketed as a new car. So dealerships are actually scamming people now. People need to be careful. If you're buying a new car these days doesn't mean anything. It can say new car, but it's not a new car, it's actually a used car. And the dealerships, they are very tricky now. They make sure that they clean the car. They will clean the heck out of that car. They will make sure that everything is spot on and it still has that new car smell, and you buy it unsuspecting. You'll be like, okay, I got a new car. Then now, because the dealership has scammed you, you're actually buying a problem. So every week you're at the dealership. I've seen so many people complaining that I bought this car, now I'm having issues. Yes, there are certain manufacturers which are just ass in terms of the reliability, and the car will break down from time to time, but there are some cars that are not supposed to break down at a very low mileage, and it doesn't make sense. So as a result, I would say that if you're going to buy a car which is new from a dealership, always have a mechanic, because these dealerships, don't trust dealership. Don't trust that person who's actually talking to you at the dealership. That's not a friend. That's someone who wants to make money out of you. They make money when you take a loan from the bank through them. They get a commission, and when you take that car, they get a commission. So they'll do whatever it takes to make sure that you buy that car. So that's the thing that's actually making the used market section in our country to actually start to blow up. And in terms of the problem that arise still on the used market, because new cars are so expensive, now we're actually finding out that a car that used to cost 600,000, for example, 5 years ago, because now it's on the used market, and the same model of that car which is new actually cost $1 million. The dealership is actually selling you a used car with a sticker price of a new car. That car was supposed to depreciate from 600,000 maybe to 300,000, but today they would want to sell you that car for 600,000. So that's another problem that we're actually having to deal with in terms of the South African market, and a whole lot of issues. And I think in terms of me, these are the issues that I'll have to summarize. The one for the China and whatever, that's a whole new section, and I do have other videos that you can go through in terms of my channel. And that is being it in terms of the discussion, in terms of the issues that I see in terms of the South African market. And honestly, I don't have a solution. I don't know how this is gonna go and how things are gonna be in the coming years. But if you like this type of videos, please consider subscribing. It will really mean a lot to me. I will appreciate your support, and as always, I'll see you same time, same place.